So it is good to see him back, and hopefully he'll have a positive effect on Oldham and help to start turning them round. I wonder what Matt Diskin's going to end up doing next, because he's another proper rugby league man. So hopefully he'll find his way.
Well, there are some other vacancies around that he might be getting linked with pretty soon, and one of them potentially could be the London Broncos, who've confirmed that head coach Danny Ward has left the club by mutual consent. Ward has been in charge of Ealing Trailfinders since 2018 and helped the club to return to the Betfred Super League, winning the £1 million game against Toronto Wolfpack in Canada in his first season at the helm. Tom Sang has been placed in caretaker charge ahead of Sunday's home championship clash with York. Former Coventry coach Sang has been combining his role as academy coach with that of Ward's assistant since Jamie Langley left to join the staff rugby union club Sale Sharks in May. Tom Andrews said, "You suspect this is because he's taking a Super League job," and he's put in brackets Leo Salford. Good luck to him. The rumours I've seen are more high profile than Leo Salford. They're Wigan and Leeds, the clubs that people have been keen to link Danny Ward to, with Wayne or Agar respectively as his kind of director of rugby, overarching director of coaching or director of player performance, whatever titles these guys are going to maybe have, being above him at one of those two clubs. And Danny Ward, of course, played for Leeds. He's earned a crack at Super League, hasn't he? Whether it be for one of the bottom clubs or one of the more prosperous clubs.
Yeah, no, I think so. When Holbrook left Saints, Watson and Ward were two of the coaches that I hoped we were interviewing and interested in. I think he's done a superb job there with, clearly a very limited budget. So good luck to him, and if it is true, whichever Super League club gets him on board, I'm sure they'll benefit from him, and I'm sure they will help him to continue to develop as one of our most promising young coaches.
From a London perspective, it is quite a shame, isn't it? He's been there a while. He'd made the progression from player to coaching in the sort of academy and development area of the club, then stepping up to assistant and then head coach, and excelled all the way up. And he's helped develop and introduce young London talent or Southern talent into that setup that have also then gone on to play in Super League. People like Rob Butler, so he's been very impressive there, and I think London will miss that. Big changes, of course, with Langley going as well. I really hope that they can get the right sort of coaching structure in place at London, and they're not scrimping and cutting corners like they kind of have done a little bit with their playing squad, because I think the one thing that can make London stay together and stay working well is a good coaching structure, because we've seen that with the last two head coaches that have been there, made the sum of their squad that was left way better than you feel like they were on paper.
Yeah, but more than the sum of the parts, as it were. Yes, I hope so too. Should we move on, Mark?
Yeah, let's roll through these next few quite quickly.
Okay, so Batley have signed Jamaica international Greg Johnson for the rest of the 2021 season. 31-year-old winger has most recently played for Bradford, but spent 6 seasons at Salford in Super League between 2014 and 19, scoring 50 tries in 106 games. That's pretty impressive. Johnson spent the 2013 season with the Bulldogs, scoring 18 in 28 for the Championship club.
Was it Batley sort of offered him redemption after his off-the-field issues with the assault charge that conviction that he had, didn't he, a number of years ago? Obviously, he's turned himself around from that person. But I think it was Batley who offered him redemption, so...
Good for them.
Yep. York have re-signed halfback Riley Dean on loan from Warrington, with Lee recalling Jamie Ellis from his loan spell with the City Knights.
Dewsbury have signed young centre Robbie Story from Carcassonne on a deal until the end of the season. The 21-year-old can also play in the back row, came through Castleford's academy and has impressed during a spell in the French Elite Championship whilst playing for Carcassonne, making 17 appearances for the Canaries.
Into League One, and winger Sean Robinson have come out of retirement to join Rochdale for the remainder of the 2021 season. Robinson started his career at Oldham before going on to represent Oxford, Rochdale, Swinton, Featherstone and Halifax. He returns to the Crown Royal Arena for his second stint, having featured in 2014. Robinson had retired from the sport earlier this year due to work commitments, but he's back in League One.
And League One side Hunslet have sacked head coach Gary Thornton after 4 years in charge. Thornton, 58, was relieved of his duties following Sunday's defeat to the Coventry Bears. I'm sure Tim was happy, where Hunslet squandered a 44-22 lead to lose 46-44. Assistant coach Mark Cass will take temporary charge of training and this Sunday's home fixture against North Wales Crusaders, who beat Keighley last weekend. That's an astonishing turnaround, mind you. 40. Hadn't picked that one up in the paper. Must have been the next game to be at.
Yeah. Hunslet, I think they kind of did this reluctantly in a way, but they sort of thought, well, we have to make a change because it's not going our way this season how we want it to, and it's easier to change the head coach than it is to change the whole side. So I think that's what they've ended up doing. I would not be shocked if this is where Matt Diskin turns up.
Yeah, okay. That's a good steer.
Former France international Michael Seaman has signed a new one-year deal with French Elite Championship side Carcassonne. The 34-year-old proppy won 17 caps for France and made 145 appearances for Catalans over 2 spells and enjoyed 2 seasons with Wakefield as well. So he's continuing his career in the French Elite Championship. Whilst we're on the topic of French Rugby League, let's talk about what hopefully is setting the way for a future good news story as the French Rugby League Federation has officially launched its bid to host the 2025 World Cup. France last hosted the tournament in its entirety back in 1972, having founded the tournament in 1954. What happened in both 1972 and 1954, David?
We won the World Cup.
So let's get it back in France and win it.
I'm up for that, Mark.
Speaking in Paris, French Federation President Luc Lacoste said, after the 2024 Paris Olympics, we are preparing for a Rugby League World Cup in 2025 with a major bid that brings together the men's, women's, wheelchair and youth events. At the heart of this great project is a strong message, sport for all, which will be reflected first and foremost in the choice of host cities and regional metropolitan partners, stadiums large and small, as well as affordable prices. We will lever the economic and tourist attractiveness of the country as well as societal and environmental dimensions. So
I love this idea, Mark. I absolutely love this idea. I've got my caravan outside, and the idea of taking it across the channel and spending a month travelling around France going watching rugby league is just very tantalising.
Yep. From that nice news story, do you want to bring us back down to the rotting corpse that sometimes is
back to the wonderful story of COVID-19. Australian prop Paul Vaughan, the idiot, has been sacked by St George Illawarra Dragons for breaching COVID-19 biosecurity protocols after inviting 12 teammates to his house for a party on Saturday. Vaughan, 30, was dismissed the day after he was fined $50,000 US dollars, £27,000
Aussie dollars.
Aussie dollars, yeah, by the NRL and handed a season-ending 8-game ban. The other 12 Dragon players have also been punished by the NRL and the club.
And Alan Walker got in touch. He said another top-grade prop and party host will become available to play in Super League in about 8 weeks. Vaughan will add to any Super League roster as no NRL club would dare diss Volandis and pick him up. He certainly add to the crack in the dressing room. And he can have parties over here. Just he can't have all of them in his house, but in the garden.
Yes. Yeah, actually, yeah. Although from next Monday, Mark, he'd probably be able to have the party in his house.
God, he'll be able to get COVID and lick anyone. No fucking rules anymore.
let's not.
There'll be mask burning ceremonies all over the country, whilst shop workers rejoice at the fact that they're going to get to be off work and not get any fucking pay.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, but Paul Vaughan, bit of an idiot in this situation, isn't it? But I'm pretty sure most Super League clubs would look at him next year.
Yeah, definitely. If they can fit him inside the salary cap, they'll definitely look at him as a good prop.
Yeah, and rumour has it that George Burgess is potentially on the list of replacement options for the Dragons, as his hip is starting to recover from surgery. So that'll be an interesting one to see. EFC got in touch with an Anthony Milford rumour. He said Brisbane Broncos have terminated the contract of Anthony Milford, and he will be looking for a new club and will be a new chapter for him, as the Super League clubs are interested in him. Could go either to England or for Castleford, Hull FC, Hull KR, Huddersfield, Leeds, Lee, Salford, Wakefield, St Helens, Wigan and Wyre, or he can go to France and move to Catalan Dragons. What he's done there is listed all of the Super League clubs, I've just realised. So Anthony Milford could go to all of the Super League clubs. He could be a player who works out in Super League, though, couldn't he?
He could. Yeah, definitely.
But similarly, it could be another Sandow situation.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, I think the salary cap's is only going to be the thing that might get in the way of people signing him. But well,
will it? I mean, what's his value right now?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Because if you've been ditched by one of the bottom clubs in the competition after 2 or 3 fairly rank seasons with the odd highlight reel play, it'd be interesting to see. I mean,
it would.
He could turn up over here, and I think he would have more than the odd highlight reel play, but he'd have to do more than just that, I think, to be a success, because as much as people look down on our competition, you still need to have the right sort of attitude and application to be successful.
I think so. The difference between the players that really do well over here and the ones that don't, are the ones that realise they've got to put it in, and that whilst it might not be the standard of the NRL, it's still got some bloody good rugby players kicking around it, and you can't just wander in and hope to do it off doing 80% of what you would have done if you were playing in the NRL.
No, exactly. And I don't know if Milford has that level of application. Hopefully we'll find out.
Lee Whitnall has come in with some injury news as well. He's just seen that Nathan Cleary suffered a shoulder tear in State of Origin 2. I imagine that they'll try to rehab it and get him back in action for the Panthers. But an end of season op would rule him out of the World Cup, which is a shame. I was looking forward to seeing him in action, if indeed we have a World Cup.
Yeah, maybe next year. But it's a big blow for the Panthers, isn't it? It turns them from being an awesome side to a good side overnight.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. He makes them tick. I still think the Panthers' structure and the way they play, I think they're still the team to beat, but yeah, it's certainly a big loss.
Yeah, hopefully he is back by playoff time, because that makes the playoffs more interesting and exciting. Yeah. And finally, yes, after an hour, this is the last news story. Toronto Wolfpack have appointed Matt Wiles as their new head coach. The Canadian club will take part in the new North American Rugby League competition, which was due to start this month, but has now been pushed back to 2022. So there you go. Turns out that Brian McDermott's move to Oldham paved the way for Matt Wiles to become the Toronto Wolfpack head coach.
One door opens as another door closes, etc., etc.
Yeah, thanks everyone for all those fan views on the news stories that we were already going to cover, and plenty that we were never going to cover. But great stuff to get everyone's insight and views. We love that very much. That's what this show is about. Shout out to BBC Sport Rugby League page, totalrl.com, loverugbyleague.com. Of course, excellent sources of your rugby league news. They provide the stories. They're the journalists. We're just the idiots who talk about it afterwards. So big shout out to those guys. Give them plenty of clicks. Right. We're going to do some match reviews. We're going to scratch back into the memory banks of over a week ago to talk about one of the games, and see how we get on. So match reviews coming up. Rightio, match reviews time. And do you remember, like, well,